Now, in terms of the price of oil, the price of gas, we've actually seen oil prices hit $120 a barrel, $130 a barrel, $140 a barrel. We've seen gas prices go anywhere from, in the last 3 years, depending upon where you live, you may have found gas as low as $1.80 something a gallon about 3 years ago. But in the last 6 months, you've seen gas prices as high as $9 a gallon. And this has put a lot of strain on a lot of families, a lot of preppers, a lot of, every bit of preparation is more expensive as a result of fuel prices increasing. Your fuel prices increase, anything that you're trying to buy in bulk, every one of those units costs more money. Why? It costs a lot more to get it to where it's at. Costs more to make it, depending upon what you're buying. Diesel prices, fuel prices, gas prices. Supply and demand, guys. Supply and demand. And when you control the supply and the demand remains as it is, you can essentially make whatever you're selling more expensive, right? So, for example, the oil and gas industry, we've seen fuel prices just spike, literally just spike. And many gas stations were preparing to put $10 a gallon prices on their leaderboards. Now, when you control the supply, you can make it scarce. And the government can't make an oil company produce more oil. The government can't make a gas company lower their prices as much as they want to make you think that. But the real truth behind it is, you look at it from the business standpoint, you look at it from the entrepreneur standpoint, you look at it from the CEO of these companies, these billion-dollar organizations, these billion-dollar companies that are hitting record profits. Their earnings are beating year-over-year earnings growth. Profit margins are expanding, and the dividend yields are increasing. Many of these companies pay dividends. I own a number of these different companies, as a matter of fact. I invested in a number of these different companies to attempt to offset my cost of fuel, to offset my cost of gas. M1 Finance allows you to buy fractional shares. So even if you don't have a lot of money, you can invest in these different oil and gas companies, and the fact that they pay you dividends helps you to offset your cost of fuel. So as they're making more money, they're paying out more dividends. So it's kind of like using a gas card. So imagine you use a gas card to purchase fuel so you can get points back. It's like cash back. So if you shop at, I don't know, Shell gas station or Exxon Mobil gas station or BP gas station, what is it? I forget which one it was. Swift or Speedy? Anyway, a number of these different gas stations offer credit cards with cashback points. So you can lower your cost to purchase fuel and gas and diesel using these credit cards that offer these cashback points and reward cards. So if you have a reward card, you're actually saving money. If you don't have a reward card, you're actually paying a tax by not taking advantage of this known discount. And it's also similar, in my opinion, to investing in these different oil and gas companies, the oil and gas stocks that pay dividends. So it's like that same company that's charging you is also going to pay you a dividend for owning their stocks. And the more profitable they are, the more revenue they generate, the more money you're getting back. So it's a way to hedge the rising cost of fuel. And I've been doing it for years. And it's just a part of my economic prep. You know, it's a part of my economic preparation for SHTF. So the worse things get, you know, me and my family are less impacted by that because the dividend payments are going up. So it's like, yeah, it sucks, gas prices are going higher, but the dividend payment's going to offset that. So I'm a big fan of that, big proponent of that. Warren Buffett, who happens to own Berkshire Hathaway, he piled about $27 billion into Chevron and Occidental Petroleum just this year. And Oxy Petroleum, it pays a healthy dividend, and it's an oil and gas company. It's an oil and gas company, and you look at what some of these mega investors like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, his business partner, are doing. These are the elites of the world. These guys are making the decisions. They're driving the direction that we head. And I don't like to only listen to what they say. I like to more or less pay attention to what they're doing, because it's the moves that these people are making that ultimately impact us, the little people, the preppers of the world, and what we need to be preparing for. Now, you got Warren Buffett of Berkshire Hathaway. He's $27 billion deep into these two particular fossil fuel stocks. So it makes you wonder, why are they investing in fossil fuel? Why is Bill Gates investing in farmland? Why are the wealthy individuals investing in farmland, right? They want control. They want to control you. They want to control prices. They want to ensure that their families have endless amounts of these finite resources. Now, how do you say that, how do you use the term finite and endless at the same time in the same sentence? Okay, right. I get it. But the point is they want to ensure the maximum longevity of their families as best as possible. They want to maximize their profit margins. These are some prep steps. These are some elite level preppers, in my opinion. Now, Warren Buffett's conglomerate spent roughly $17 billion quadrupling their stake in Chevron to around 8% just in the first quarter. And they paid around $10 billion to purchase 19% of Occidental Petroleum since the end of February. So, you got the Biden administration that's pushing for this clean energy initiative. It would make you think that fossil fuel and oil and gas is going away tomorrow, and we're going to be forced to drive electric cars and no longer depend on fossil fuel and oil and gas products. Well, makes you wonder, if that's really happening, why is Warren Buffett dumping billions of dollars into these companies if they're going to go under? That doesn't make sense. That would be silly. What else is in the cards? Now, Warren Buffett previously shared his views on the oil industry, helping to put those enormous wagers into context. And he basically boiled down investing in an oil producer to betting on the price of oil over time, and essentially downplayed his own track record in the space. Now, he also essentially underlined the importance of discovery and development costs, and he predicted oil would be essentially usurped or unsurpassed by a cleaner energy source within a century. Now, you drop $27 billion into a company, you gotta be pretty confident. Even for Warren Buffett, that's a lot of money. And as an elitist, these guys are hanging out together. These guys are at the World Economic Forums. They're making decisions. They're making long-term economic plans for the world. These are the shot callers of the world. So, gotta watch their moves. Where are they putting their money? How are they prepping? How are they preparing their families and their lineages for the future? What can be learned from them? Warren Buffett said, when you buy into a huge oil production company, how it works out is going to depend on the price of oil to a great extent. And he went on to say that it's not going to be your geological home. It's not going to be your geological home runs or super mistakes or anything like that. It's an investment that depends on the price of oil. So if he's saying that the investment he's making is dependent on the price of oil, well, what does that tell us? That tells us that they're going to do everything in their power to keep the price of oil high, because their investment profitability and ability to generate earnings quarter after quarter will depend on the price of oil. So there's no reason why we should expect oil prices to go down long term. Now, he also said previously that, you stuck a lot of straws into the earth and it's a finite number. So the one thing that he can almost promise is that oil will sell for a lot more someday. So basically, Buffett was referring to this large number of oil rigs and wells across the world and the increasing scarcity of oil. So with a scarce product continuously dwindling in resources and availability, as long as people need it, then the price will always be higher until that point where that resource is completely exhausted. I don't think that we'll see that oil and gas is completely exhausted in our lifetimes. Will our kids see it? Possibly. But again, it goes back to, what are they doing? Where are they putting their money? I would say this: the massive shift that we see and the directional change for oil and gas will probably happen around the time when we start seeing investors like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, the Peter Lynches of the world selling massive shares of oil and gas companies and not reinvesting in these companies. That will be when the world is headed to a new order. But for now, as they're continuously dumping billions and billions of dollars into these oil and gas companies, I have no reason to think that these companies will not continue to price gouge, extend their profit margins, increase their revenues, through automation decrease their expenses, lay off people as needed, and they will continue to be profitable. So yeah, that's the direction that we're headed. And anyway, one hedge toward that, one of many hedges is getting these dividends, getting these oil and gas companies to pay us back. I like that. Now, none of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing some tidbits of information I think is helpful to my community. But this is what they're doing. This is preparation at its best. Like, these guys are killing it from the prep standpoint. So, when Buffett runs out here and buys these billion-dollar oil and gas companies, Occidental Petroleum, they're negotiating special terms for themselves as well. They're saying, hey, I want a higher dividend for the shares I'm buying. And he can command those things. Now, while you and I can't run out there and command higher dividends, we can still get the dividends that they're getting. And that's going to help us build our reserves and offset these rising fuel costs. So anyway, I just wanted to share some information with you guys. If you guys made it this far in this video, drop a like for the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. And take care, preppers. Be safe.